sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
And now, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, the Snake Sports Talk Show with Jake Silva starts now.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen, on a Thursday night football tonight. Pittsburgh against Cleveland. AFC North is about to go down. This is the Snake Sports Talk Show, wherever and however you may be watching and listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. Live from Denver, Colorado, Roku, iHeartRadio, all social media platforms known to man. To like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell button to keep you updated on future and past episodes. You don't want to miss out on it, because NFL Week 12 Prime Predictions is going to be on fire. So much to talk about. Listen, this kind of game, though, tonight, it's going to be interesting. But I love the matchup. Pittsburgh against Cleveland in Cleveland. Usually it's not always an easy place to play in, but we know with what they are. So let's talk about it. So tonight it's going to be really interesting. So the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road on a Thursday night facing off against their division rival, Cleveland Browns. You already know right now the Browns, this is basically a dumpster fire. As of right now, but what's important is, does this change kind of the outlook of how we feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Not necessarily. They are playing to their strengths, which is important. But do I feel like this is a team that kind of feels like they're up on cloud nine? Not necessarily. Go and look at the Detroit Lions. They feel like they're on cloud nine right now, steamrolling everybody. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, what they are doing is that with Russell Wilson, and I said this on the program, I'll say it again, he's not feeling that pressurized. Okay, let's be honest about it. Because my thing about Pittsburgh is that this doesn't quite change the landscape of who they are. They're a great defense. They've got a quarterback. They've got a head coach. And yet they've always had a resume of success. That's who the Pittsburgh Steelers are. Okay, they're not going to be worried. Listen, win or loss tonight on a Thursday night, I mean, they don't care. Okay, that's not honestly what they are going to do. All right, it doesn't matter from this point forward. But I will say this. I think because of the way how the Pittsburgh Steelers have been playing, they're physical, they're tough. Thursday nights, usually what happens with a lot of tough physical teams is they're going to go into this week, and it's not going to matter whether win or loss. It's not. Because you're still going to be playing very well from Sunday, Monday nights. Because it's plenty of time, plenty of rest. Thursday nights on short weeks usually are always challenging for everybody. But I will go with this, that I think Pittsburgh, it might be an interesting game. And you know with how they are against the Cleveland Browns. Because Cleveland's a dumpster fire. They want to be spoilers throughout, when teams are going into the playoffs, especially when it's an AFC North opponent. I mean, that's just who they are. But my gut feeling of it is I think the Steelers tonight, whether win or loss, doesn't really change how I feel about them. It doesn't. I mean, they are a very good football team, but even if they lost tonight, it's not really gonna shake anything. I think the team right now, they really are rolling, and Russell Wilson, with the way that he's been playing and the way that this establishment has been put together, it's not very pressurizing. They have a culture. That's what they do. And I think at the end of the day, Pittsburgh, they're not going to be worried about a Thursday night football game. They're still going to be playing on Sundays. They're worried about the playoffs. They're very physical. So which is why you could be physical on Sunday. You could be physical on Monday. But yeah, when you're up on Thursday night, you kind of take a little bit of a step back. That's usually how it is, because oftentimes when you get shorter rests, it's kind of challenging. So I think Pittsburgh, it doesn't quite change anything. If you really want my honest opinion, I think they're going to go in. They're going to make it an interesting game. And to the credit, I think, honestly, this will be a game that is going to be well worth watching. Cleveland, we know, is really like they're fighting for draft spots. So even if Pittsburgh wins, that's just going to do Cleveland more of a favor. They'll be 2-9. They're going to be moving down on the draft spot. They'll be moving up. And that's just kind of how they're going to play it. So I don't expect this. And however that this is going to pan out and play, that's what we got tonight. So not worried about Pittsburgh whatsoever. Win or loss, not going to change anything. So, okay, I don't talk a whole lot of NBA, but I wanted to bring this up. I know that they lost and now they're 2-12. I know that this was kind of the last minute editing. I didn't get a chance to get into it yesterday, but things are not looking hot for the Philadelphia 76ers. And right now, there is some serious tension and turmoil right now in the organization. And that's between the young 20-year-old Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. So right now, the Sixers, they're dealing with leadership issue. Well, what do you know? They've been dealing with leadership issue for the last, few years. Okay. We thought they cut out the problem when Ben Simmons got traded away. We thought the cancer was out, but it still exists. And what sucks about this is it exists with your superstar player, Joel Embiid. And right now, it's not looking so hot in Philadelphia. You got a 20-year-old calling out the superstar because of lack of leadership. And not to mention, you're showing up late to these practices. What are you doing? Philadelphia, it looks like a hot mess. Okay, the only thing that's red hot is the Eagles. But the Sixers right now, 2-12, this has to be by far the worst team I've seen, with such a disappointment. And what sucks about this is because I felt like in a leadership aspect, the one person who I felt like could have been the outlier, I mean, you're watching Drew Holiday right now. Okay, Boston, they win a title. And Drew Holiday, at the time when they ended up trading him away and goes to New Orleans, I mean, they lost their defensive player. They've lost their setup guy. They started up. So by that point, he gets moved off. Then comes Jimmy Butler, who could have been another vocal leader. But yet, no, nobody knows exactly who the real voice in the locker room was. That was the problem. And then, between Brett Brown and, Doc Rivers, I mean, we're seeing this turmoil right now in Milwaukee. It's so bad. But, I mean, this is worse. And the Sixers right now with Nick Nurse, this is not going to get any better. It's not. Philadelphia is a very tough, hardened culture. And with the Sixers playing like this, because the Sixers had expectations, they probably would have been an Eastern Conference team that could have been making some serious noise. But they're not. I mean, you're looking right now at the Knicks. You're looking at Boston. You're looking at Indiana. You're looking at a bunch of teams right now in the East. Hell, Cleveland's playing great basketball. But this has been a problem for years with the Sixers, and it's only going to get worse from here. I mean, I'm hearing multiple people right now basically calling Joel Embiid needs to get the hell out of town. They did this with Ben Simmons. Honestly, I thought Ben Simmons was a worse cancer than Joel Embiid. They got him out. But right now, this is really bad out of Joel Embiid. But what's funny is this goes right back to Joel Embiid in the Olympics. Okay, Steve Kerr, you knew, made the change because it felt like Joel Embiid was just in the way. Okay, I don't know what it was that was going on as far as the scheme. It doesn't seem like he fit it, and clearly he didn't. That's why they made the initial change. They made the initial move. I mean, this is just horrifying all the way through and through. This is really bad. So to me, I feel like with Joel Embiid, he's not the leader. The 20-year-old Tyrese Maxey looks like he's the leader. By the way, Jared McCann, that kid looks very good. Okay, he could be that runner-up. All right, I don't think he'll be a leader, but I think he would be a very capable number 2. All right, so, I mean, you're just seeing all around this. And look, the Philadelphia, it's like the Sixers have to take notes from the Eagles. Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, look at how stable and calm that is, even if they have Nick Sirianni. But they keep Sirianni on a very short leash. That's just what it is. He's not failing, but he's in the way. And yet Kellen Moore, you see the offense cooking, and you also see Vic Fangio with his defense. That's why I think the Eagles on Sunday night against the Rams, that's going to be a very good team. Maybe the Sixers should honestly get some tickets to go to LA and go to SoFi and just watch exactly what a stable organization looks like in their own city. So the Sixers right now, I mean, this is god awful. I mean, good God, I'm hearing Hunter Brody literally almost crack his voice because of how bad the Sixers are. I'm watching RB. I mean, they're all calling for Joel Embiid's head. But this is exactly what it is with Philadelphia. If you want to beat the Knicks, if you want to beat the Celtics, if you want to beat a lot of these teams in the Eastern Conference, get the cancer out of the room. You know how long we've been waiting for the Sixers to honestly fix this thing? I mean, it's not worse than the Jets. It's not worse than the Giants. It's not worse than the Saints. But the Sixers right now, I mean, this is a complete tire fire. And this is exactly how worse it's going to get. Look, we've watched the Sixers have so many debacles over the years. I mean, with the Jahlil Okafors, all the, the Ben Simmons, and now the Joel Embiids of the world. And Tyrese Maxey, a 20-year-old, literally calling out the superstar. Oh, that's a problem. And it feels to me like Tyrese Maxey could be next in line as the leader. And you don't want that. If you're Joel Embiid, you got to lead by example, showing up late in practices. Listen, this load management stuff, it sucks. It really does. Everybody's paying their hard-earned taxpayers' dollars to go and watch their superstars. It's not working. I understand if you got a rehab and injury. I get that. But the load management stuff, when you clearly look healthy, you clearly look like you're capable of playing, and especially with the amount of money that you're making, come on. How many times have we watched Charles Barkley literally call these players out? And right now, this is looking horrible. It's just getting worse by the minute. Joel Embiid, I mean, now he doesn't look like the answer. And I think this is where the Sixers, and I think Hunter Brody said it best, I think you really have to consider a franchise player change. I think you got to get Joel Embiid out of here because look at how many years he spent injured. Look at how many times he's got himself in positions where it's just looking really bad. So Joel Embiid, he's another problem. Feels to me like, I mean, he's got to go. I mean, look, I thought they cut the cancer with Ben Simmons. Oh, no. They only cut partial of it. They didn't cut the whole thing out. You only solved half the problem. But imagine what you could have been like with Drew Holiday and Jimmy Butler. And, you could have stuck around with Andre Drummond. You could have at least gotten a couple of other players of that sort. I need a guy with the backboard skill to really kind of give me rebounds, second chance shots. Somebody like that. And somebody who's available, somebody that's not going to slack. Okay. Somebody that's not going to, flake. And that's what Tyrese Maxey's screaming about. Okay. Jimmy Butler at one point with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, he literally was in the locker room. Do you remember how this was? I mean, he literally looked in the locker room and said, I don't know who the hell the leader is. He looked he's looked so confused. But this is the state of what the Philadelphia 76ers are in. And it's bad. I mean, look, we could say what we want to about the whole thing with the Lakers and all the rest of it, but I'll tell you what, though, Dalton Knecht, remember this kid, okay? Dalton Knecht, they definitely got themselves a grand slam in that kid. The kid can shoot. The kid's been, the kid's been doubted by multiple people. But man, what a heck of a story Dalton Knecht is. But the Sixers need something like that. This is just getting worse. Look, I'm watching the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. I'm watching the Giants trying to convince me of Daniel Jones. And I'm also watching the Saints with how much debt that they're literally in come the cap space. This is bad. But, I watched a Sixer team last year have to go toe-to-toe against the New York Knicks. I thought they would have had gas left in the tank for them, but the Knicks beat them. And Jalen Brunson's a superstar. Okay? Say what you want to about Karl Anthony Towns. I get it. But, yeah, I think you got to get Joel Embiid out of town. Did y'all watch the Olympics? It was clear that Steve Kerr saw something and said, yeah, no, Joel Embiid's in the way. So, good stuff. I don't talk about NBA much. I haven't since the season started because we're all in full gear in NFL mode. So I've been all about football, but whenever I get the chance, because these have been stories I've been holding on to for quite a while because again, it's like a reservation on the back of my head. Of course, I'm going to talk a little bit of hockey down the stretches, but when I'm in football mode, I'm in NFL. I am full go. I'm fully charged up. So, fun stuff tonight. NFL prime predictions, by the way. We got a lot of really, really spicy stuff. Cannot wait to do my prime predictions. Week 12, we're on fire. Lots of division rival matchups. Cannot wait for it here tonight. So you guys are going to want to pull up a seat, maybe grab some popcorn and join in here with me here tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, folks. Well, like I said, prime predictions tonight, and kudos to our odds makers at BetUS.com with arguably one of the best sports books for over 30 years in the country, always giving you the best experience when enjoying the best sports betting and the best sports book on the market. BetUS, absolutely love the partnership that we've got strong with this company. But the best part of it is that when you sign up for BetUS, you will get your very own personalized account manager, giving you all the best advices, giving you all the best analysis, but at the same time, giving you the best experiences as to why they're one of the best of the best. So when you sign up, $50 or more to your deposit, 125% matching bonuses up to 3 deposits that match up to $2,000. Triple the fun. 3 deposits up into it. So each time you end up adding in $50 or more, that's more chances of the bonuses, more chances to win, more chances to get competitive in the daily contests all season long. NBA, NFL, college football, NHL as well. So you don't want to end up missing it, guys. It is so much fun. I promise you there. Definitely give BetUS.com a check out. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or seek therapy in your respective states so you do not gamble recklessly, because BetUS always wants you to gamble responsibly. We want you to enjoy the fun, not to be reckless with your hard-earned saving money. That's with BetUS.com. Give it a try for yourself and see why they're the best sports book in the country. BetUS, where the game begins.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts that get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
Looking for a show with the best takes and opinions? Want a show with the best coverage around the world of sports? Jam-packed with an all-star interview lineup? Then the best place to find it all, sports and entertainment, is right here. Join Jake Silva on the Snake Sports Talk Show, presented by SeatGeek and BetUS. Weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Check out the Con Man live on the Sports Corner, coming to a screen near you, giving you the greatest stories from basketball legends you've never seen before, sharing their glory, building the toughness, and how they show off their swag. But only one man knows all that, and that's the Con Man. Join Michael Conceição, the Con Man, at the Sports Corner, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Snake Sports Talk Show is sponsored by Muscle Tech, with hundreds of supplements and vitamins to choose from, all packed with 100% all-natural proven ingredients. You can be sure that Muscle Tech will give you the edge and the boost to train and look like your fit and healthy best, whatever your goals are. Try Muscle Tech today and use promo code SNAKESPORTS to save 30% off your purchases.
Welcome back here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. My predictions at the bottom half of the hour. You don't want to end up missing it. I am on fire. I'm getting spicy. I mean, like I said, I'm inferno. Don't want to touch me on this. So I thought this was interesting sources, but so apparently, and look, we can't stop talking about the New York Jets enough. I mean, we really can't. I mean, this whole sellout with Aaron Rodgers and what he's doing with the Jets is just absolutely horrifying. I feel bad. Jet fans have kind of been drinking the sellout juice, and that's exactly what's been happening. So this was an actual source that broke out. So when the Jets, when they were playing one of their weeks, when the team was not looking so hot, and when the team was actually struggling, you know, Woody Johnson, and what was said is that Woody Johnson, he he had the idea to potentially bench Aaron Rodgers because of how bad this Jets team had been struggling. And so my takeaway with this is that this you already know was going to be a tire fire. I mean, the second that Aaron Rodgers off an Achilles, not looking so great, this was bound to be pretty bad. And so not a ton of people would have thought this was going to be this bad. I mean, take it what you will, but I feel like right now, I mean, the Jets, you got to blow this thing up. So the funny thing is with Woody Johnson basically saying, oh, they had the idea to bench Aaron Rodgers, but you didn't. What happened? They had an idea to bench him. Why didn't you? I feel like with the way this is rolling, I mean, this is all bad. And the Jets right now, they don't look like they have enough life in them. It doesn't look like they do. Once Robert Saleh got fired, the defense got worse. Once you demoted Nate Hackett, I mean, you're pretty much babysitting him. What is he even doing here anyway? Like, he's not creative. He's not making the play calls any better. He's not. I mean, Nate Hackett's just sitting there. So they demoted Nate Hackett all because he's Aaron Rodgers' best friend. So what? What is he doing? Like, and that's the part that I think drives a lot of Jets fans nuts. And then at the same time, you fired Joe Douglas. A lot of people, like, look, I've been having some discussions with multiple people. And the thing I'm kind of in awe about is that the way this is rolling is that Joe Douglas, he's not a terrible GM. Okay, everybody makes him out to be. Why? You think that he really wanted the Aaron Rodgers deal? No, he didn't. He didn't want that. Okay, and I guarantee you, somewhere in between, if you had an interview with Joe Douglas, you'd be saying the same thing too. I mean, I think Joe Douglas was the middleman. Okay, what do you expect? It's really difficult when you have an owner who's that desperate that got sold on this from underneath him. What do you expect him to do? I mean, I'm just looking at this from a perspective of how the Jets season right now has been rolling, and it looks really bad. I think if you're the New York Jets, because right now sources have been put that they should seriously consider moving on from Aaron Rodgers. I don't blame them on that. I think they should, because Aaron Rodgers is not guaranteed to get you to a Super Bowl, because right now it seems like Father Time has come. All right. And everybody is all sold on the same narrative. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, look at that guy. You know, I remember Aaron Rodgers when it was like, yeah. It's 2024. Get with the program. I'm tired of hearing this stuff. Really, really am. You know, I'm kind of at a wit's end with the Aaron Rodgers deal. But I think that's interesting that Woody Johnson proposed to bench Aaron Rodgers because of the struggles. So that's a little interesting. But yet, here was the other kicker. Robert Saleh didn't want to do that. All right? So he wanted to give Aaron Rodgers a chance. Do you blame Robert Saleh for that? I mean, he's kind of like Joe Douglas. They both were caught in a bind because it's Aaron feeling arrogant and prickly and sensitive, and he's a grudge holder. And then you got Woody Johnson, who's desperate, needs this team to win, can't do it because they don't even know how to win. They don't even have a culture of winning. Okay, since 2010, this team's been horrible. Okay, and look, the last quarterback, at least with winning, you know what's funny is I could look at 3 quarterbacks, and I'll give it to you from here because I think this was really interesting. Out of the 3 quarterbacks, Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, and Aaron Rodgers, out of those 3, who do you think has a better winning percentage? It's Zach Wilson. And he's backing up Bo Nix in Denver. And he looks good. He looks very good. Doesn't look pressurized. Doesn't have to look like he's in an absolute tire fire of an organization that can't wait to come down. But we knew who Zach Wilson was. And the thing that I vouch and I defended Joe Douglas for is because there were traits and draft picks that he actually made that were hits. Don't forget about that. You remember the Jamal Adams trade from New York to Seattle. Look at how much draft compensation he got back for that. That's accounted for Elijah Vera Tucker, all the other draft picks that he's also hit on. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Jermaine Johnson, Michael Carter II. He is Sauce Gardner. He's accounted for all of those. He can make all the rest of them, but he can't hit on quarterback. But here's the difference, though. Okay, Joe Douglas didn't draft Sam Darnold. He drafted Zach Wilson. And honestly, I wasn't trustworthy of Zach Wilson coming out of college in the first place because I watched BYU. Okay, BYU is playing, and look, to respect of their program, I mean, yeah, they're in the Big 12, but I'll be honest with you, BYU up at that time, they weren't facing a whole lot of Big 10. They weren't facing a whole lot of the SEC. They were not NFL battle tested. That's what a lot of these programs and these conferences are. They get you prepared for the NFL. BYU doesn't even have most of those guys on their schedule. So that's why I look at Zach Wilson and I'm like, I don't think he'll be NFL ready. I don't think he has faced the adversity. I don't think that he has faced when his back's against the wall, that kind of pressure. I don't think he has. So that's the part that I think what's ridiculous. So just because Joe Douglas missed on a quarterback, like 65% of this league, doesn't mean I'm going to condemn him. Okay, it happens. Okay, look at a lot of these other, you want to know something, I'll pull something up because we just got an update of the 10 draft picks right now, and they're practically all the same teams. They all are. They're all the same teams that have dealt with dysfunctions, and they're all the same teams that right now haven't been able to get a hit on any of the positions. Quarterbacks, some of their picks haven't been able to hit. That's why you see these teams all the time in these top 10 draft picks. This is what happens. So the top 10, I'll read it off to you, and I'll break it out a little bit. You got Jacksonville, Tennessee, Cleveland, the Giants, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Jets, Panthers, Dallas, and New Orleans. Those are your 10 teams, okay? And the Jets are sitting at 7. Honestly, if I'm the New York Jets, I'm putting this season in the back burner because this is not working. Aaron Rodgers, after an Achilles, looks like Father Time really rushed up to him very quickly. Okay, we could sit and talk about Kirk Cousins all we want, but the difference is at least Kirk Cousins has an O-line. At least he's got talents he can use. It's not his fault that the pass rush sucks, but that's what happened to Atlanta. That's how they got steamrolled by Denver last week. So, look, there is always an explanation for everything, but the Jets, they drank too much of that sellout juice from Aaron Rodgers, and this is the reality that you're getting right now for the Jets. I'll talk a little bit more on the draft, on the top 10 draft picks just before we get into our prime predictions, but I still think it's something really interesting. It's really something interesting. And look, even if the Denver Broncos, here's what's funny about this. Even if the Denver Broncos made a bad business mistake with trading for Russell Wilson, paying him the money before he hit the field, Bo Nix is becoming the outlier. Okay, he's making his case to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. And that's what's their saving grace because they can move Russell Wilson. Sure, they're going to have to deal with the hell for 2 years because of his contract, but they're going to be fine. Bo Nix is their saving grace. And that's why I think, because the Broncos are, they know, but let me be honest with you. Bo Nix has saved George Patton's job. He's given him at least the chance. That's why you had to hit on a quarterback. The Jets, they have so much potential, but you know what you did? You ripped out the culture, because I'll bring one more for you before we get into the news. But do you remember when the Jets played the Packers when Aaron was in his last year in Green Bay? Okay, with Robert Saleh. Did you see how that Jets sideline literally looked like? It looked like a college sideline. Everybody was hyped. Robert Saleh was hyped. Sure, Zach Wilson wasn't really the answer, but did you see how that defense played with Sauce Gardner and with everybody there? I mean, the whole sideline was hyped, and Aaron Rodgers lost. Aaron Rodgers wasn't getting any younger. Neither was he getting any more productive. He's quickly regressed. But I guess this is what happens. When you get so distracted and you start doing your own things, not to mention that Achilles heel is catching up to you. I mean, the Jets kind of got sold. They got sold on this. And Jet fans, there's some of them that I feel bad for, but the rest of them who have been drinking this juice way too much. I mean, you've been spiking. I mean, Rodgers has been spiking the Kool-Aid. You just didn't realize it. Okay, you went to one of those parties, and then you look, and you're like, oh, there's fruit punches up over there. Yeah, it ain't fruit punch. That's a spiked up punch. You didn't realize it, and you got sold on it. So, sorry, Jet fans, but I figured you would want to hear the God's honest truth. Time for the news.
This is the Hot Press.
Somebody needs to take away the juice. Somebody really needs to. I mean, get the fruit punches out of there. I mean, that's just kind of what you're looking at from here. So, this is interesting. So, a couple of news here that I think is definitely worthy to talk about. So talking about the Colorado Buffaloes. So, by the way, I'll be talking a bit about that. So, the Colorado Buffaloes, right now, I mean, they're riding cloud nine right now. They look like the team favored to winning the Big 12, and I think could make it in to the college football playoff. So, Colorado's two-way star, wide receiver and quarter, Travis Hunter, who I've said is arguably one of the top best prospects going into the draft, is for sure entering the NFL draft. Would I honestly think anything else otherwise? I mean, Travis Hunter is a freak. Travis Hunter is just one of one. Okay, that's definitely a for sure that Travis Hunter talked about, because he's in favor to win the Heisman Trophy and being widely expected to forego his senior season and enter the NFL draft. I mean, he is arguably right now the number one prospect in this draft. I mean, I think he will definitely be drafted as a corner, because I don't think, as far as wide receiver, I don't think he gets so much of separation like a lot of these other wide receivers you see before you. But he could very much be like what the Kansas City Chiefs are using with Xavier Worthy. He could be a gadget guy. There are a couple of spots, and like I mentioned about here, because right now you got Jacksonville there. Jacksonville, my problem with that is that he would solely be next to Tavon Campbell. Like, yeah, I think he's a good corner, but the Jags have a multitude of things that's gone wrong. I mean, you still got to make Trevor Lawrence work. But I feel like my hope is, and hopefully New England sees this, and they could go one of two ways. They could either get that pick and draft Travis Hunter, and then you have him and Christian Gonzalez next to each other on both sides as corners, and it'll be locked down. And then the other thing is, because of Drake May's ascension right now, he's got another weapon. Well, you could go out and buy weapons. You can go out and buy an offensive line. So that's kind of the deal. I think that would be interesting. I would love to see it, and I think it's clear. I think it'd be great. So, by the way, Major League Baseball, they've been announcing a lot of their award winners, and so the two that were very unanimous, and it was obvious. I mean, the two organizations gave us a World Series. But the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani, and the New York Yankees, Aaron Judge, were both unanimous MVPs tonight. Shohei Ohtani was voted in the National League's most valuable player unanimously, capping off his first 50-50 season in baseball history, becoming the first full-time designated hitter to ever win an MVP in those honors. So both of them, they broke and paved the way. So next year for the Dodgers, I mean, you're going to get Shohei Ohtani back on your pitching rotation. Well, I think that's going to be incredible. But, I mean, these two, look at this. Shohei Ohtani was literally first in votes with all 30. There wasn't anybody else that was fighting that. He was unanimous, 420 total. It's incredible when you see a player like that who's just unanimous votes, and he was just clear across the board. You want to know who the other two they were considering? Francisco Lindor was second, and then Ketel Marte was third. Not even close to what Shohei Ohtani, the season he did. Now, for Aaron Judge, same exact thing. But I think the argument and the outlier that you could make is because Bobby Witt Jr., the youngster for the Kansas City Royals, I mean, he had a great season. He also, he was second in there unanimously because it was clearly obvious. He was really, really good. And then there was Juan Soto, his teammate at the Yankees, who knows what his destination may be. But it's incredible. I mean, we really are that lucky to have players like that. Just to witness that. We really are lucky in sports to have it. So I think honestly, it was clear between two of these giants. Shohei Ohtani, a 50-50 season, that was already your automatic ticket to winning it. And then Aaron Judge was ridiculous. 58 home runs, almost had 60. Nearly came away with the Triple Crown award. Nearly. Bobby Witt Jr., I think, had a better batting average than that. So, lastly, some hockey news. The first one here is the Washington Capitals. Their superstar Alex Ovechkin is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks with a broken fibula. So he's expected to miss the next 4 weeks. Fractured left fibula was announced today. The injury right now puts the pursuit of Wayne Gretzky's all-time NHL goals record on pause. So the Capitals had said that Ovechkin would be week to week with what was then described as a lower body injury. Now it's become a fractured fibula, so it's gotten worse. The 39-year-old left winger exited the team's 6-2 win against the Utah Hockey Club after colliding with Jack McBain. Listen, so Alex Ovechkin, I mean, the guy's already, I would say he's already etched as the first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no doubt in my mind that he is. Ovechkin, is chasing for history. That's what he's doing. Much like for most of these hockey players. I mean, Sidney Crosby, he's chasing for history. Alex Ovechkin wants to break that Wayne Gretzky goal record, and it's not that easy. So it kind of puts everything up on pause. But I do have a very good feeling that Alex Ovechkin will win this thing. I think he will definitely break it because he's not going to retire until he does. Now, again, the Capitals, the performances as of right now, I mean, it's not as hot, but I can tell you right now, they're just right in pursuit of history. And I will be there literally watching this thing, watching him break the record because that's incredible. I mean, you watch Shohei Ohtani go 50-50, okay? If you watched Alex Ovechkin, we watched LeBron James literally break MJ's point record, right? So watch Alex Ovechkin be one of the greats, Wayne Gretzky. I think it's just going to be absolutely incredible. But with that fractured fibula, not fun. But hopefully He'll get much needed rest, and he'll get much needed rehab after. That's going to be it for the news.
This is the Hot Press.
Folks, we have been red hot with the NFL Prime predictions. We're getting ready for it yet again, and here we go.
Let's turn it up. It's Jake's Prime Predictions.
All right. Tonight's Thursday night game, I know that it's currently going on as of right now, but I'll tell you what, as close as this game gets, I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns at plus 3.5. Listen, I hate betting these AFC North matchups because they're so unpredictable because they're both so good. Okay, I could bet the Baltimore Ravens one week, yet the Browns could show up that week and beat the Ravens. Who would have thought? Now, the Browns, we know, are playing for draft purposes because ultimately I feel like they should be getting out of this business with the Deshaun Watson contract because clearly that's holding them back. There's no doubt in my mind that this has been a problem for them, but defensively with Myles Garrett and with the way that these AFC North matchups are, it gets physical, it gets crazy. But the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns, you know they've had a history with each other. I think Pittsburgh will still win this game, but not as convincingly as most people believe it is. I will take the 3.5, 24-21. Good news for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Unlike for the Giants, they're benching Daniel Jones, and they're going with Tommy Cutlets to start at quarterback. But I'm going to take the Buccaneers at -6. The good news is that Baker Mayfield is going to get Mike Evans back. So that's going to open up the wide receiving corps, along with Jalen McMillan and multiple others. And by the way, Cade Otton, I mean, this kid really came up at a very good time. The Buccaneers have been playing very good football. It's unfortunate that it had to go the way that it did with all the injuries. But Baker Mayfield, who's been putting a little bit of a quiet MVP case for himself, Baker Mayfield is just so comfortable in these types of spots. Now, the Giants, we know, benching Daniel Jones, they're probably going to end up moving off of him, so that means Tommy DeVito's getting the start. But no, regardless of it, I'm going to take the better quarterback this week, and I will take Baker Mayfield -6. Give me the Buccaneers to win 27-17. All right, the Chiefs have a game to get back and on track. I will take the Kansas City Chiefs here, but I'm going to take the Panthers +11. Are you kidding me? You're disrespecting the Carolina Panthers so bad. I don't understand why. But here's the thing. The Chiefs are coming off of an emotional loss against the Buffalo Bills last week. And by the way, they were playing with fire with the way that the winning streak had been going. They've been winning close games. They knew eventually they were going to be stopped in their tracks. But against Carolina, I know that they're going to give them the business, but I don't think 11 feels very convincingly to me. The Panthers are coming off of a bye on a 2-game win streak. Bryce Young seems to be finding his groove. The Panthers, they're coming into this thing at home, by the way, off a bye. Let's see what Dave Canales might end up doing. He might actually make this an interesting game. I like the Chiefs to win in this game, but that -11, give me a break. I will make it an interesting game from here, 24-21. The Commanders, now this is a convincing game because the Cowboys are just, they're a hot mess. But I think the Commanders are definitely going to take this one at home. -10.5 sounds about right to me. Listen, the Cowboys, what are they really playing for? Dak's probably going to be out for the season. The defense looks like hot garbage, and at the same time, they didn't have anything to really work with. So what are you doing? I think the Commanders right now, because Jaden Daniels right now is feeling that whole midsection. I feel like it's definitely bruised in the ribs, which happens. I mean, listen, when quarterback performances, when they look pretty bad after a big hit, it happens. But I think the Commanders, they're getting a bit of a break here at home against the Cowboys, who are just hot garbage right now. I think the Commanders get right, just like the Chiefs. But I'm more confident in this point margin at 10.5 because of after what I saw against the Texans. Give me the Washington Commanders at home against the Cowboys, 31-20. I think the Commanders will be fine. Now, I know a lot of people are going with the Miami Dolphins, and you know what? Rightfully so. But, I'm going to go with the New England Patriots because I feel like, listen, the Dolphins are feeling themselves. Why? Because they beat the Raiders? So what? The Raiders kind of threw the towel already. They want to tank to go and get Shedeur Sanders. I don't blame them. But my thing with the Miami Dolphins is once Tua got back, I know that the team rallies around this offense. Okay, Tua is pretty much what makes the offense work. If you want Tyreek Hill and you want everybody else to work, that's where Tua's got to play his best. But here's where I think New England, because of Drake May and the way that the Patriots had been playing, Drake May is clearly the franchise future. Now, we know the Dolphins are trying to play for playoff rights. They're outside looking in, but I feel like the Patriots don't really like the Dolphins as much. And you know what? In an in-division rival matchup, I like the chances of Patriots playing spoiler. I think they want to get this win. They know that they got to play for draft purposes, but I think on the road in Miami with an upset, give me the Patriots plus 7, 24-21. Another in-division matchup, the Titans and the Texans. Give me the Texans. They've been playing pretty hot now. Now, listen, we know this season they have been very much tested, but Joe Mixon, with him running the football, after the clinic he put against the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, Joe Mixon is on fire. I don't like this offensive line outside the tackles, but if Joe Mixon on the ground is giving you that many yards and giving you that many scores, that means that C.J. Stroud will be confident to lead the offense forward. So I think the Texans against the Titans. Now, we know the Titans are pretty pissed, but the difference is that the Titans with Will Levis and the way that this offense is going, it doesn't look to be pretty good. And I know the defense is going to try to work their hardest, but I think the Texans might be moving all over them. I'm going to take the Texans. They're at home. That's the difference maker. So I will take them in a division rival matchup, 28-17 against the Titans. Okay, look, I know the Detroit Lions have been steamrolling everybody, but I don't think this is an opportunity for them to steamroll the Colts because right now, Anthony Richardson back after being benched. I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts here in this matchup at +9. The reason of it is because I do feel like that even though the Detroit Lions are on cloud 9 right now, you can't steamroll everybody every single week. That's just not possible. And look, the Colts, they were in a close one against the Jets, and they won. And Anthony Richardson, let me tell you, there was a little bit of some change there, a little bit of a sign of life from Anthony Richardson. So I think being benched and then coming off the bench after a horrible look from Joe Flacco, I think the Colts, there's some confidence that's being built right now in the offense. Not to mention, they also signed another offensive lineman and an interior guard, maybe come in to give them some help. I think the Detroit Lions will still win this game, but I don't think very convincingly of a steamroll. The +9, I'll take the Colts from here, but the Lions will win 27-23 on the road. Vikings and Bears, another division rival matchup. It sometimes is hard with these ones, but I'll take the Minnesota Vikings. Listen, I know a lot of people are all concerned about, Sam Darnold, has he hit a wall? But listen, I have trusted this defense. The defense in Brian Flores has really been the talk of Minnesota. Now, they do put up points. I know last week it didn't look as attractive because of the way that that everything kind of looked up on offense. But you know what? If Sam Darnold can just distribute the football to a lot of his cohorts and to a lot of his weapons, then the defense will do the rest. Now, listen, the Chicago Bears, we know, are on the thin lines of, I think, Matt Eberflus will be the next guy fired. And I think the hardest setting is this is in Chicago. I get it, but I think the Vikings, they're not afraid of it. I think they're going to come in a division rival matchup with the way that the Chicago Bears and their offense has been generating points right now. It's not looking so good. I'll take the Minnesota Vikings here, -3, but it'll be an interesting, close game. Defense does get the job done, 24-17. Last time, and here's what's funny about this. So the Denver Broncos, they got a big win with the Orange Crush. Love the classics. I will take the Denver Broncos at -6. Now, listen here. Here's a fun thing, a fun history for you. So the last time Bo Nix was in Allegiant Stadium, as now the Broncos got to go and face the Raiders. The last time Bo Nix was in this building, it was at the Pac-12 Championship against the Washington Huskies and Michael Penix. Unfortunately, didn't come away with a win, but that's what Bo Nix wants redemption of. He looked very good. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, and threw for almost 300 passing yards in Oregon. I think Bo Nix wants redemption on this, and he wants to win in this building. Now, of course, it's different when you're playing in the pros, and I think right now, Bo Nix, in the last few weeks, is making a very silent case for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I know a lot of this is because Jaden Daniels really started out pretty hot during the season, but I think right now, Bo Nix, he's making a serious case for himself. And the Raiders, it's doing them a favor because it's making them get higher into the draft slots. I'll take the Broncos. I think they're going to sweep the Raiders this year in the AFC West. And the Broncos, I think it's going to be an interesting game, but I'll take them to win 27-20. A must-win for the San Francisco 49ers, and, I mean, their backs are against the wall, but I don't know if they have enough of that juice against Green Bay Packers. I will take Green Bay here in this game -2. Listen, in Lambeau, we know Jordan Love right now is looking pretty reckless, but I trust a bit of that defense with Xavier McKinney. The other thing is this roster right now for the San Francisco 49ers, it's starting to deteriorate. It's not looking good. I know they need a win right now because with the Arizona Cardinals leading the NFC West, the Niners need the Eagles to beat the Rams, but they also got to beat the Packers. I don't know if they're going to do that against in Lambeau because we know what the Niners' history against the Packers, but that was with Aaron Rodgers. This is different with Jordan Love. Jordan Love, I know, has been pretty reckless as of this year. But I think Matt, before they got to clean some things up, I still trust the Packers in some of these spots. I think San Francisco makes it an interesting game, but I think the Packers will get the last laugh here in Lambeau at home. I'll take the Packers -2 with a 24-21 final score at home in Lambeau. Cardinals and Seahawks, I think this is going to be pretty fun. This is my low-key, interesting, fun game of the week. But here's the deal. I'm going to take the Seahawks +1. The reasoning for this is because the Seattle Seahawks want to play spoiler. All right, they're going to try to go toe-to-toe, tooth and nail against Kyler Murray and the red-hot Arizona Cardinals. They've been playing very, very good defense. Now, we know right now Geno Smith hasn't looked so hot, but you know what? As long as Geno Smith is executing the plays as much as he needs to, I think the Seahawks will make this worth the game in Lumen Field in Seattle. Now, we know Arizona, it's not an easy setting because it's a division rival matchup, but I will still think the Arizona Cardinals, they might bail out of this one and dodge a bullet, but I will take the Seahawks point at 1 point. 24-23 is the underdog. Sunday Night Football in SoFi Stadium. Last time we had such a very good thriller, but this one between the Eagles and the Rams, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. As much as I love Sean McVay and as much as I love Matt Stafford in that offense, the Eagles defense, by the way, has been cooking with Jalen Carter, and with Jordan Davis and with multiple others. This is typical Vic Fangio, because with Vic, it usually takes up to 4 weeks for this thing to finally start cooking, and looks what's happening. Since Nick Sirianni and the antics, they've been putting it on a short leash. He's getting out of the way, and you're starting to see Kellen Moore really work this offense. Jalen Hurts, by the way, he's been actually playing better football this time. Since the start, after the atrocious start from Jalen Hurts, he's cleaned up his act. I think he's also been distributing the football very, very well. I know a lot of people are saying, well, he's got A.J. Brown back. Sure, that's fine. But you know what? Saquon Barkley is a beast, and they're relying a lot on the run game in some of these areas, but they're also distributing the football as well. They are starting to become those dual-threat Eagles that we know and love. I'll take the Eagles on the road in Los Angeles against the Rams, 27-20 with that 3-point margin. And finally, the Harbaugh matchup we've been waiting for on Monday Night Football. But you know what? I have a hunch, and I've got a gut feeling I think Jim Harbaugh is going to really redeem himself against his brother John Harbaugh. Give me the Chargers at +3. Listen, I know what all of you are going to say. The defense did get cracked. But you know what? The days of charging for the Chargers are over. I mean, Jim Harbaugh, the team stayed calm. They executed, and Justin Herbert, by the way, here's an interesting stat for you. His touchdown to interception ratio is amongst the best amongst NFL quarterbacks this season. It's at 13. That's over Lamar Jackson, who's sitting right behind him at 8. He's not turning the ball over. Jim Harbaugh, since he got here, the culture has changed. The other thing is, it's made Justin Herbert, who's not breaking a ton of records, it's made him an even smarter quarterback. A 4.2 biology major student, you know he's smart. Look, but it's making him situationally smart in these areas. Jake Dobbins, 2 scores last week on Sunday night. Again, the Chargers. This would be different if this was in Baltimore at M&T Bank Stadium. It's in Los Angeles, in SoFi. You're getting the Rams on Sunday night, and you're getting the Chargers back-to-back weeks in SoFi. It's going to be a party. But I think the Chargers, they are playing for something, and Jim Harbaugh really wants to get at it against his brother John after all these years with matchups in the Super Bowl. Well, I think Jim Harbaugh, I have a gut feeling he's going to get his. I think it'll be an entertaining Monday Night Football game. I think the Chargers are playing for something for here, but man, they are on a roll with 4 in a row. I think they might improve to 5. Give me the Chargers here at home, 27-24. Lamar Jackson. The thing about the Ravens is what people have to realize is if you box out Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and the run game, it forces Lamar Jackson to have to pass. That's the difference. Okay, so that's where the Chargers really have to box in the run game. I know Derrick Henry's physical, and I know that he's been playing very well. It's arguably one of the best duo running backs in the league. But I know the Chargers defense, they don't want to repeat what happened last week against Cincinnati. The pass defense did not look as great. But I'll tell you what, I know Lamar Jackson can throw, but I also know he can run. And they've been a run-first offense. Okay, even with Todd Monken. And Greg Roman has a lot of familiarity in Baltimore. You don't think that's going to be pivotal in this game? I think it's going to be entertaining. I think this is honestly the best game of the week. The Hard Bowl, Monday Night Football in Los Angeles, under the lights. How about that? So good stuff. So I got Browns 3.5 tonight to cover. Colts +9, Panthers +11, Vikings -3, Commanders 10.5, Buccaneers -6, Patriots at +7, Texans at -9, Broncos at -6, the Seahawks at +1, Packers at -2, Eagles at -3, and the Chargers at +3. Not bad. I think we got mixtures of favorites and underdogs, but I do feel like I'm going to get a lot of love from the underdogs this week. I really do. I just think the best icing on the cake would be Jim Harbaugh's get back at John Harbaugh, his brother. I think that is going to be the icing on the cake as the perfect underdog. I just have a very good gut feeling. I'm not gonna be hyping up too heavily, but I just think right now the Chargers, you could see this culture, you could see it change before your very eyes. Amazing how this is. So I want to reiterate back something before we end the show, but I talked about the NFL draft and the 10 picks right now. Chase and I did our breakdown in our previous episode. But once again, I'm going to bring this back to light. So the Jags, so for my listeners here, I apologize, but for a lot of our viewers here, this is what it's shaping out to look like right now. So you got the Jags, the Titans, the Browns, the Giants, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Jets, the Panthers, the Cowboys, and the Saints. So all these 10 teams, what do they have in common? They all have serious issues with their organization. We're just not used to seeing Dallas, and we're probably not used to seeing Cleveland in these spots. But this year, I mean, they've gone back to being a dumpster fire again, and they've got the number 3 pick. So as I'm looking at this, because I've talked about Travis Hunter, I think he's arguably the number 1 prospect going into the draft, and rightfully so as a two-way player. But I think he's going to be drafted a corner, and rightfully so. Because I think with Travis Hunter right now, he would make the Jacksonville Jaguars defense pretty interesting next to Tavon Campbell. But the Jags have such a multitude of issues. That's why I vouch for the New England Patriots, because I think between him and Christian Gonzalez, that's a very good secondary. And you got a gadget guy kind of weapon with Travis Hunter. And with the way Drake May's ascension is looking like, it looks like the future may be bright in New England. And they got a lot of money to spend. So they can go buy an offensive line and go and buy players. You can shape up the defense however you want. But here's the other outlier, though, because if the Patriots, if Travis Hunter is not the option, he's not the go-to, then they still have a chance at Will Johnson. Okay, Will Johnson, that corner out of Michigan, very physical, loves man-to-man coverages, loves to piss off a lot of opposing receivers. I mean, he's very good at man-to-man coverages. So I'm not mad at that. But I look at all the rest of these other teams, the teams that you know that truthfully need quarterback. I think Tennessee, we're going to see with Will Levis and where they sit at. But Cleveland, I think, would honestly draft a quarterback. The Giants just benched Daniel Jones, and now he's 4th on the depth chart, which means they're clearing up space. They're moving on from him. They're not, like, this is just not working. Okay, we already know that. So I think the Giants now are in play for a quarterback. The Raiders are in play for a quarterback. Because to be honest with you, I think if anything else, I feel like the Raiders, if all these things go right and they spend the money in the right spots, because what did they get? They got Jackson Powers Johnson as the center. Outside of Colton Miller, this offensive line needs help. It really does. Those are 2 O-linemen that you know are solid. So you could fix up the offensive line any way that you like. And the other thing is, you could always get a defensive player, an edge rusher or somebody up in there later up into the draft if that's what you choose to do. But I feel like they could go at another weapon. I feel like in the free agent market, I think they might buy a running back. I don't see them really drafting somebody like Ashton Genty. But they do need a quarterback. And what we're told is that Shedeur Sanders seems to be the clear fit for the Las Vegas Raiders. And you know what? I'm not opposed to that. If they fix the offensive line, it could work. The Jets could be in need of a quarterback, and they should. Because as of right now, this is not working with Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to bring him back. I think ultimately what you need is a culture-setting coach. You need to fix up this mistake. You need to get a competent GM, because I know right now, the guy that I think could be the GM of the Jets, I'm just making this kind of a hot take from here. I think Ed Dodds might get this job. The assistant GM from the Colts. I mean, look, Chris Ballard what he saw and what he witnessed with Chris Ballard, because I thought Chris Ballard was going to be out of Indianapolis because of what Jim Irsay, all that's happening all around there. But that hasn't happened. They get A.D. Mitchell. Right now, Anthony Richardson coming off the bench now and starting to play, it looks a little different, which is good. Which is very good because that's what you want. But they did get A.D. Mitchell. They have a very good offensive roster. I think they could fix up offensive line a little bit more, but the Colts are in pretty good business. But that's why I think the Jets, they could go and get Ed Dodds. Because somebody who has literally looked at the really good prime drafting spots for the Colts and then also looked at, he's on a tightrope. I don't know if he get fired. Ed Dodds has seen that. And so to take that on in the Jets organization, who you know has been a tire fire for a very long time, I think Ed Dodds could be the perfect fit here. I think it can work. At Carolina, they're not going to draft a quarterback. I think that if anything else, they could probably draft D linemen. They could probably draft an offensive line. But they need to give Bryce Young some help. And Bryce Young is playing for his quarterback start. The Dallas Cowboys, the interesting part is because there's lots of things they could go for. Many people are vouching, and they're literally talking about Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders being the head coach. Well, you know what broke out? The Colorado Buffaloes literally got a 5-star quarterback. Okay? They got a 5-star quarterback. He's not going anywhere. Deion Sanders, nobody's listening to that. Okay? They sound tone deaf. You're not listening and hearing what Deion Sanders said. He said, I don't want to deal with it. Okay, he's comfortable where he is. He wants to coach up a lot of these young men. So I don't think he's going to leave Colorado. But if that becomes the case, with not taking Shedeur Sanders and getting and honestly, I think Ashton Genty's right there up on the board. You would be mistaken if you're not going to take Ashton Genty. People are thinking his injury history might hit him a bit, but I don't think it should hit him that hard. Okay, Genty is phenomenal. Got great legs, big body build. I know people are looking at his injury history, but I think the kid is great. I think the kid would be very good. He comes from a physical program in Boise State. Why wouldn't you take him? Don't make the mistake of the Zeke thing. Okay? Play this right, but why not? He's right there. Take him. And then the Saints. The Saints need to get rid of all these old contracts. They need to get out of debt, and they need to start accumulating some picks. That's really kind of the sum up. But all 10 of these teams, the Jags, the Titans, the Giants, the Raiders, the Saints, the Jets, the Patriots, and the Panthers, we've all seen those teams. We just have not been used to seeing, at least recently, the Browns and the Cowboys. But the Browns have kind of looked like a dumpster fire right now. They look like they've reverted to their ways again. But the Cowboys, it's an interesting one because it's a high-priced franchise. You're not used to seeing this, but this is what it looks like. So, I mean, I think if anything, there's going to be a lot of teams that could be inquiring about quarterback, and rightfully so. But this quarterback draft class, by the way, is pretty weak. Outside of Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, who do you really got left? I don't see too many people. I really don't. I think if anything, it'd be pretty interesting. So I do want to talk about it real quickly. Colorado. Colorado's in the perfect spot to win the Big 12. And they just made an announcement of a commit that is one of the 5-star quarterbacks, highly touted. Julian Lewis. He decommitted from USC to go to Colorado. Now, what does that tell you about USC? USC, for whatever reason, is having such a hard time with their recruiting class. I don't understand it. And what's hard about this is because in Southern California, I've watched the CIF. Okay, I've watched them. Okay, all those high schools in Southern California, they are so good. How is it that Julian Lewis decommitted from USC to go to Colorado? That's what you got to ask with USC. But Colorado, but this is also the prime reason, but this also answered everything. Like, Deion is not moving out of Colorado. He just said this. If you got a 5-star recruit at quarterback, what does that normally tell you? Deion's not going anywhere. All these people that have been tone deaf and saying that Deion's going to go to the NFL, he's going to join up with his son, stop it. Stop with the clickbait stuff, okay? If you're doing this for clicks, good for you. But that's not going to happen, okay? I know this for a fact because anybody that with a brain that can literally think about when you get a high-studded, recruited quarterback, chances are that coach ain't going to leave. You know how many times people have been kind of chanting and ranting and raving that Dan Lanning's going to leave Oregon to go to the NFL? Stop that. He hasn't even won a title. Okay? The only thing that Oregon, for its long program history, is all about Phil Knight's money. They're always getting uniforms. They're always on the uniform game every single year. But until they get a national title, Dan Lanning ain't going nowhere. He's trying to build a culture there with the Ducks. Like, come on, let's get real here. But the thing about this, what I like about it is because what Deion Sanders, and I live here in Colorado. I live in Denver. Okay, I would love to go to a Colorado Buffalo game. What do you guys think? You think somebody's got to vouch up for me to go and see the Buffaloes and watch Deion Sanders for my own taste? I would love to see that. But this is, I mean, seriously. It's ridiculous. I cannot believe how much the rant and raving is. But Deion Sanders is doing something that many people, and this is classic in college football, when you get the right coach, when you get the right personnel, when you get the right recruiting and scouting department, this is what happens. You think people were really going to be that afraid? I mean, look at how the panic meter went from so high when Shedeur Sanders, you knew, was leaving to go to the NFL, and rightfully so, he's going to be the draft pick. And now look at how the panic meter just literally dropped. Once Julian Lewis committed to Colorado, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Besides, the kid was the number 115th player, 35th in composite rankings. But this is a big deal for Deion Sanders. Because now that answered the question of what is Colorado going to do post Shedeur Sanders? They will be fine. I mean, Deion is smart enough as a father. I mean, look, listen, for myself, I've been away from my family's house. I've been away from my parents' house since I was 25. Okay, I've been 5 years apart. I'm going to be 30 next year in March. I haven't looked back since. And you know what? My parents were smart about this because they turned around and said, don't go backwards, son. Don't go backwards. Deion Sanders, I know as a father, is going to do whatever it takes to set up success for his sons. But you know what? When Shedeur, depending on where he goes, there's a lot of options. The Giants, the Raiders, the Browns, and a lot of places. All you want is you just want him to succeed. He'll be an empty nester. But you know what? At least with Deion, he's going around and he's got Julian Lewis, and it's like, it's okay. We're good here. I'm building a culture. I mean, think about it. Joel Klatt, I think, said it best when he interviewed Deion Sanders and talked about, Warren Sapp. And he said that what Deion was breaking it down, Warren Sapp didn't have a purpose post his NFL career. And Deion brought him in and gave him purpose. Fixed up the D-line. The defense looks great. And by the way, Utah, of all programs, we know is prime in defense. The fact that they literally, in Folsom Field, came in and dominated Utah, that's not easy to do. I don't care who you are. Colorado's building something very, very special. And by the way, because Colorado plays Kansas, okay, and they just beat BYU, I think Colorado is on cloud nine right now. They're feeling themselves. BYU just suffered a loss. And Colorado, they have the potential and they've got the ride to the Big 12 championship, and I think they're going to win it, and I think they'll be in the playoffs. As much and as crazy. Like, look, I'm not on crazy pills, but I know with what I see. And by the way, here's a side note for you. Remember Ray Lewis? Yeah, that all-talented linebacker from Baltimore, an all-time great. Yeah, reports are he's following in the footsteps of Deion, and he's going to coach at FAU. How about that? I mean, you got to respect the impact that Deion Sanders is leaving right now with so many coaches, especially like in college. College football, it's classic. I understand that like in the NFL, you get more days off. I get it. It's not as pressurizing. It's not as crazy. But you know what? Deion is putting something together very special. He really, really is. And I think it's paving the way for players, for former players like Ray Lewis, to go and coach at FAU. And you know what's funny is that, Deion Sanders, when he started his coaching career, I mean, these were not in big places. He didn't go and just coach Alabama in day one. No, he didn't do that. He went small. It's just like most college recruits. You'll start up small in like a JC school, and then eventually you're going to end up making your way into the prime D1 schools. I mean, that's what it is. So save me the whole explanation about Deion going to the NFL and going to the Cowboys. Stop it. They just got a 5-star recruit at quarterback. That just answered everything. Deion, y'all were listening. Deion's not going anywhere. He wants to coach up young men. He wants to coach up all these kids in college, set them up for success. He is putting together a very special culture that honestly, I mean, this Colorado was primed to winning 1 to 2 games every year before Deion came here. Last year, of course, he had to take accountability. Of course, it got exposed. But you know what? Look at what he's doing this year. He learned a lot from his mistakes. He learned a lot from what it takes to be a very prime college football culture. Colorado and Folsom, Boulder, Colorado's got to feel very good. I'm literally half an hour, if not 45 minutes to drive down from where I live at to Boulder, Colorado. And you know what? I would love to see a Colorado Buffalo game. I would love to see it, the atmosphere, these kids in college. I mean, they are feeling themselves. Deion's putting together something really, really special. And I think that is something we need to be appreciative of. It really is. It really is. It's fascinating. But this is classic college football. It's a classic with all these kids. It's a classic with these coaches. So, listen. I'm 29 years old and I'm a part of the millennial group. Listen to what he's saying. Don't be tone deaf. He just said he's not moving. And Julian Lewis committing to Colorado, and you're going to build him up in the best way, shape possible. They're going to be fine. Colorado, what Deion Sanders is doing is remarkable and unbelievable, but they will be fine. Good stuff. Way to cap off the show tonight. A little truth serum about Deion Sanders and what the next moves is going to be. I mean, I hope everybody listened. So, yeah, he's not going anywhere. So stop this. All right. We got to go up from here. But appreciate everybody for being on here tonight. What a fun show it has been. Prime predictions week 12 on fire, looking to capitalize. Appreciate all of you guys for joining up here, up and onto the show. Tomorrow we'll have Chase back. And it's going to be interesting. We're going to have a lot more NFL talk. We'll be breaking down this game after tonight and see exactly what our thoughts are. But I think it's pretty clear. I took the Cleveland Browns points and should be a good one. Appreciate everybody for being here. Enjoy Thursday Night Football, and we shall see you guys tomorrow night here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. Take care, everyone.